But what we're going to do is, I have some documents that I created for some professional developments that I've done, where K-12 teachers are my primary audience. And so we've got these links on that page, and before I have you click on one of them, I'm going to tell you that what we're going to try as a lab experiment kind of thing is sort of a, we are professionals, don't try this at home. And by we are professionals, I mean everyone here. I've set these documents up so that I can put a link here, and anyone that can get to this link can edit the documents. When that's the case, that means we all show up as anonymous user number 3492 and anonymous user number 7. You would not normally do that with students when you want to know who has done what in a project. And usually you wouldn't have all 400 of your students editing that one document, right? You might set up like a template type document and tell them all to make a copy of that and then share it with the people that they need to share it with so that they can collaborate. But just so that we can play with the features and look at it and see things happening in real time, we're going to use, you can choose any one of these 5 documents to go into.
And a quick add-on. You guys are being very good listeners. Right?
Yes.
This is excellent.
You may have a piece of candy from the ball in front of you.
Also, this is a model. This is a model that you guys can use in your classes. So if you build a little Google site and you put these links here, instead of sending the class an email saying work on this could be different parts of a lesson. Does that make sense? And that is a link to a Word document, except it's a Google document. And if your kids were working in there collaboratively, their little cursor, instead of user 3441, it would have their name.
Yeah. And we'll look at that, and I'll show you where that will be. You can even steal this concept, because I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with it myself either. Each of these documents is really just, hey, how do you think you might use Google Docs in the field of English and Language Arts, or in the field of mathematics? So pick one that you're interested in, and just click on it.
And then we have English, math, social studies, science, and then fine and performing arts. And if nobody ends up in math, hey, there's no bad feelings, it's okay.
Math is awesome.
I'm the English guy, so I'm on the other side of the room right now.
I'm going to click on English and Language Arts only because I know that there's an example that someone added while we were doing this in Monterey a few weeks ago. So when I click on one of them, it opens up this. Now I can tell that no one else has clicked on that one yet. I'm going to go back and show you what I did. How did I get there? What is she talking about? So remember our website that we started out with. In your navigation, go to the Docs page and pick one of these that you think you want to play around with. You will be typing and having
created.
Okay, a lot of people, I think, whoops, I may have plus the little extra.
For you.
We're just going to close it. You know what happened? A lot of people were opening it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can do whatever.
Well, if you want to be a math fan, you don't teach that. You could.
So while it finishes loading so that I can really show you the awesome stuff, I'm going to start by showing you some of the stuff that you will probably find to be familiar. So, by the way, don't change anything in the document yet. Some of you are very ambitious and taking initiative. Great. I can see your little pins, meaning that you're on there already. The stuff at the top will look familiar to you. And I encourage you that when you're trying to find something, go ahead and look in menus, because things might not be where you expect them to be if you're still used to things like Microsoft Word. Okay, but there are a lot of options, and there's even some new stuff that got added recently. So all these tools here are fairly familiar. They're the same tools we would use in a Microsoft Word. Now, like John said, when you add people by their email address, or let's say Alice sent a document out to everyone in this particular cohort, are you guys kind of called a cohort? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone in the cohort gets this document, and it's only to the people in the cohort. Instead of anonymous user and a number, it will say your name or your email address, your email username. And the different colors represent what's happening in here, okay? So you might even be able to figure out which anonymous user you are. So we're going to use this document to practice using collaborative shared cloud-based text document in Google Apps. Please only change below the line. This is the line, okay? Now you'll notice over here, we can chat about what we're doing in the document, and that stuff does not show up in the document. Now, you are dealing with grown-ups, yes. I am dealing with aged 8 and up. And when they get to that precious middle school age, which is among my favorites, they will do stuff just because. Which is good when you want them to try to figure stuff out, but it's not good when you're teaching and someone's typing in the chat and it keeps popping up and it says, Mrs. Maine's hair looks funny today or whatever, right? That's not cool. So we do have some rules. So I'm going to come back to the stuff that was above the line because that picture of a book is something I really love. But what I want you to do is add some ideas. Now, if you are not in the English language arts one, but you're in math, science, social studies, and history, or fine arts, performing arts, again, add some ideas. If you have a situation in which students, no matter where they are, can be working in a document together, I wouldn't recommend normally having 20, 30, 40, 100 students in the same document, but maybe groups of 5. Okay? So students can be spread out all over the state maybe, like I was when I did my San Diego State Master's program from my kitchen or living room, depending on where the Wi-Fi was best. We did a lot of things in Google Docs because I was in San Jose. A lot of my friends in my cohort were in San Diego. Somebody was in San Bernardino. Someone was up in Napa. We were all over the state, but we could be communicating at the same time or not, and coming back into the document to communicate some more offline. So, for example, students could collaboratively write a story, such as when a paper is passed around the room. You ever have that in school? You start a story here, and each person adds a sentence to the story. And you say over the course of the story, I'm looking for things like plot development, and what's the setting, and the main character has a conflict and all that other stuff. And when he gets to the other side of the room, it's insanely funny. And you as the teacher would have to go hunt the paper down to see where it's going. If you have the students doing this while you're doing something else, you could pop into the document every once in a while and just say, by the way, I still have the chat open, so if you're chatting over here and it's inappropriate, I'll have the document open the whole time. I can copy and paste that later. Okay, because the chat over there won't be saved, but if you have the document open, you can go grab that later. But you can say, oh look, we've already got about a paragraph and a half of our story written. Okay, and it doesn't have to, people don't have to wait. Okay, you could say, okay, let's go in number, order, or whatever, but they don't have to wait for their turn. Here's some of my favorite features. Let's say, I'm going to close the chat over here. Let's say I think this is a fantastic idea. I'm going to insert a comment as the instructor and say, this is a really great idea, which is probably kind of lame, I should say that better. But now I've added a comment. Someone can click on my comment and respond to my comment.
And I'm breaking in just for a second. Are you guys seeing those colored cursors?
Yeah.
Yes. I have a question.
I want to reiterate this. If they're part of your domain, your email group, right? Whether it's your CSUMB or your Cal State Teach, if they're part of that, it has their name right there. And then have we had this happen with students? Oh, we worked on it so hard, but it got to be. You ever had that happen? Maybe it's more K-12. I'm going to show you revision history after the break. You can go back and
I'm going to show them to them after the comment then. We're so there. Okay, so
I'm getting anonymous one,
okay,
anonymous two.
they're showing up as anonymous because of the nature of the way I set the document.
Oh, okay.
Normally, you would not just make something that, this is basically a web-based free-for-all, and anybody that wants to find their way to that page could click on that link and edit it.
Okay.
This is not normally how I order in my classrooms in grades 3 through 8.
Because I'm signing my name at the end of what I put.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And then, if you hit enter, what is that? Because I automatically hit enter when I finish.
Enter is just like in your Word document.
Okay, that's okay.
Now, I'm going to break in again. Have you guys ever done the old jigsaw lesson, right? The
Yep.
jigsaw.
Oh, yeah.
Here's chapter 4. Will you do the vocabulary? I need you to summarize, right? What does the jigsaw look like with this? This is crazy good. This, and it could be silent jigsaw. It could be that you don't have to talk at all. You could be on their team, and it doesn't matter. Although personally, as you've seen, I'm good with a loud classroom too. But certain things at certain times, right? And here's what you add to, you can't do if you're doing your jigsaw with paper plates or with cardboard. You can insert images. You can have links to YouTube videos. Back in the back, this gentleman, I forgot his name, he said, hey, could I show the Gettysburg Address and the history one? We went over to YouTube. We found Johnny Cash reading the Gettysburg Address, and he pasted it in. If he was the learner in this case, that'd be a more powerful experience for him. Okay, so that's what this brings, is it's not just writing anymore. You can require your students, I need 3 primary documents. Because we have the whole internet. It opens the vistas of what's possible.
Okay, so this is a better example of a comment. And you should always be asking yourself, hey, this is kind of questionable. I don't know that I'm comfortable with this. In this case, this is not ideal. We're all anonymous, but normally you would be able to see who did what. John mentioned the revision history. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. I've been commenting on things that people say, okay? Now, you can comment on a comment. So let's say a student has written an essay for you, and you want to tell them they're having a real issue with subject-verb agreement, and you want to highlight a couple of examples of that and say, here's an issue with subject-verb agreement. They go in and fix it, they comment on your comment, and they say, okay, I think I fixed that now. At any point, after the little stream of comments is done, we can resolve this comment, and the little post-it note isn't over here anymore. You have a couple seconds to undo it if you want. But you might be thinking, wait, I want to be able to go back and keep track of the ways that I commented on my students' work. It's still there in this little comment stream area. An entire history of every sort of side conversation you had with that student or that group about that still exists in the background, okay? And you can see there may be, oh, Randall showed up as himself. There may be things that come up that have already been resolved. But that's important to know. If students are going to be commenting to each other and then resolving it, it is in the comment stream. Which, because I teach younger children, I say, so it doesn't go away, I can still see what you said. Okay, now, speaking of it doesn't go away, you can also go to the revision history. Now, I teach younger students, but I also did just go to grad school a few years ago, and I have been in the situation where a group of 4 people, 3 of us did all the work, and 1 guy was along for the ride. In grad school, and we were all K-12 educators. And I'm like, really? This is happening in your class all the time? You let somebody get away with it?
Well, see, my logic is that is a human dynamic. It doesn't matter the age group.
Yeah, that's true.
I was looking around on the internet. MIT has a late work policy. What does that tell me? MIT has a late work policy. Come on, people.